All right, so we are right around the corner from the holidays as we were recording this. And so now's a good time to start looking at the design elements of your listings to see what are some things you could potentially do to get bumps in sales, bumps in conversions. So excited to have on here Miriska Harris from Outlinematic. So Miriska, thank you for joining us on Maximizing E-commerce.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. It's always nice to talk with you about all of this and giving some tips out to all the sellers.
Yes. So some people may recognize you if they've been following for a while because you have been a guest on the podcast before, as well as Outlinematic has been a sponsor of a couple of the summits that I've put on, and you've done some helpful content related to those summits as well. So some people may recognize your face, but for those who don't know you, who are you and what is Outlinematic?
Okay, so I'm Miriska Harris from Outlinematic. I am the co-founder and owner of Outlinematic, and we're a design company based in St. Petersburg in Florida. And we help any e-commerce seller or Amazon seller or even brick and mortar people who are just looking for overall branding, logo designs, packaging designs, inserts, and we even do A+ content and stores as well. So anything you need design work with, we can probably help you out.
Okay, great. So you're helping people with their design elements and things of that nature. So that is awesome. So, all right. So tell me a little bit about what are you seeing? Like if somebody came to you, or let's rephrase this a different way. If someone came to you and said, "Hey, can you take a look at my listing?" What would be some things you might look at?
I would definitely look at the listing copy. Just we have someone that handles listing copy, but that's something that I would send to them. But from a design aspect, and that's usually what I look at, is I would look at your listing images and your A+ content and probably your store, and I'll analyze each of the listing images and see where they can be improved, because as you know, I've said many times, people are very visual, and if you can communicate all of your benefits and highlight all of your product features through your images, that would be great, because people are going to view all of your images, but they're not necessarily going to read through your entire listing copy.
Okay, gotcha. So that's a good balance. So we write all this stuff, and there are people that read everything. My wife kind of analyzes some of the reviews to see how trustworthy they are and stuff, and then I'm more the type that I just kind of glance at it and kind of skim through it, and pictures look good or they don't look good or whatever. I just kind of make that decision. So
yeah, you always get it to the extreme to one point.
Yes.
I'm also the extreme. I check everything, I read everything, I check all the reviews. I kind of try and see if there are fake reviews in between, stuff like that. And usually when it has a bunch of nice reviews and photos and people are very happy, then I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable purchasing this. So yeah, it's not, but I must say, if there's a nice listing and you can see it had a few purchases, it's been there for a while, then I wouldn't look too much into it. But if I'm not sure and I'm between 4 or 5 different ones and I don't know which one to pick, then I'll go through everything.
Yes. You want to get a chance to kind of go through everything and make sure it looks good. So because at the end of the day, unlike when you're in a store where you can physically touch the item or look at the packaging, what is the quality of the packaging, and hold it, when you're online, you're kind of having to go through all these decisions you have to kind of check off. Is this trustworthy? Look like it's what I actually need, because that in-person feeling tells you a lot, but online you get kind of a different feeling, so you kind of got to check some of those boxes. So what are some things you could do with your listing for the two camps? So for you and my wife, or for me, who's more of the skimmer, how do you balance that when you're writing listing copy? Because you don't want to make it too much TLDR, but you also want to make it detailed enough. And TLDR, for those who don't know, is too long, didn't read.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I look at the listing copy and is the each bullet has a paragraph, people are not gonna read it. So you want to have like a powerful bullet point and maybe just a short description under each of those. And you definitely want to say what's applicable to that product. So say that dimensions are important part of your product because people are going to know if they want to fit. So say for example you have sheets or bedding, you're going to have to say the size, or if you have a table, you're going to have to say the size. Things that will be important for people searching for that specific product. So it's going to each to their own for each product, but that's going to be important for the product. Then stuff like the color, the material, things like that are also important. People definitely look at that depending on what they're actually looking for. And then you get other products where they should just look nice, and people won't even mind the size. Say for example, maybe scatter cushions and stuff like that. They won't always want to know the size, but if they're looking for maybe scatter cushion covers, that's something that they have the inner for, they'll definitely want to know the size. So see, it's very like you have to think of all those little things that it's really to the product. So it really depends on the product. But overall, I would just say definitely if size is applicable, have the size, color is applicable, have the color, material, stuff like that. And then the major benefits of your product with the features that makes your product stand out against the other. If you have a bonus parts in your package or stuff like that, mention that in the listing as well, the listing copy.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, that's all helpful things. So, the things people need to know, throw in a little bit of, flowery language to, make it more of a kind of benefit forward and things like that. Not too long of bullet points. We've all seen it where it's like, it's like War and Peace in
paragraph.
one, this big long paragraph. Sometimes a run-on sentence that sometimes they really are just blatantly keyword stuffing. And then others where it's like they're trying to make it sound like natural sentences, but it's just keyword stuffing. So people know that. So you're writing both for, algorithms, but also for people. And I truly think the algorithms, they're going to catch on to, if you have, iPhone case versus iPhone 4 case, or whatever it is, it's going to catch up onto that. You don't have to put like every different variation of a potential word. What's I think most important is, are people buying it? And if people look at it and they're like, this is just words, this is a word salad.
Yeah.
If people want to put ranch and croutons on your on your bullet point because it's just a total word salad, that's probably a problem. So, all right, so let's get into the pictures. How do you best within TOS, because sometimes people go a little overboard on this, but how do you how do you optimize the images, especially the main image?
So yeah, this is definitely more my area of expertise, are the images. So yeah, listing images are very important, simply because that's the first thing that people usually see when they go through the different, if they search for something and they see all the different sellers over there, the main listing image is something that they're going to see immediately. So your main image is also your PPC image, which is very important for multiple reasons. So you definitely want to make sure that that pays off. But your main image should only show the product on pure white, and it should be a close-up. So you want to use as much as possible of that real estate that you have there to show your product, because it has to grab the attention of the customer, and it also has to show what's included. So if you have something with multiple items, you have to show what's included, but you're not supposed to show what's not included. So it should not have be an image that has props or something like that, even if it's on a white background, but do not show stuff that's not included. The main thing with images are that they are not necessarily to drive traffic to your listing, but they're there to convert the traffic that your listing is getting organically and through paid methods.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the main image, and you really think about that, like if you look up, we'll just go back to iPhone case. If you look up iPhone case, you see, it seems like more and more stuff is on that first page, especially sponsored listings. You see all this stuff, and you're deciding pretty much based on the title and the main image what to click on. And that, I think, is part of Amazon's funnel that they're really looking at is impression to click to sale, and those kind of variables in between, so that your main image is pretty important there. So what are props you can get away with? And I asked this question because I feel like I see like kind of ebbs and flows with this. Sometimes Amazon seems to drop the hammer on this and all of a sudden it goes away. Like I remember when I first started, everything in kitchen had an FDA logo on it, as in the Food and Drug Administration of the US.
Yeah.
But I never really understood why people were doing that. It's like trying to say they are, within regulations, but that's not really the case. It was almost like they're trying to say the FDA like actually gave their stamp of approval. And I've seen other
product,
little things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've seen other little things along the way. So, or sometimes people put like 2-pack or, or they'll have something that kind of looks like an Amazon logo in it. So what are, I know some of this is a little like gray, but what can you get away with?
It's very gray. It's very gray. It also depends on the product. I'm going to use sheets as an example again. Okay. So say you have sheets or bedding or stuff like that. You're able to use a bed because otherwise it's just going to be these folded sheets, and it's not going to look like appealing to anyone viewing it. So there is a place where you can get away with having a bed and pillows and stuff, but it's still going to be covered in the product. And then there's like, I did a fat separator the other day where it actually had the actual fat and all the food that was used to get the fat from in the little strainer at the top as a main image, and they use it as a main image. Then there are bath trays and shower trays. It's these little stickers that you put in your shower not to slip, and they're actually put in a bathtub. I think it's mainly to show that that's where it's used, and I don't want to say they get away with that, but I think Amazon will allow the application of your product, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. And so where I think it might start getting even grayer, where I think they're probably trying to avoid, is let's say you have a coffee cup. And so, it's a coffee mug and you're selling the coffee mug. Well, if you put like a bag of coffee beans in the background to try to, really show that this is for coffee, somebody might say, well, I thought I was getting this bag of coffee beans with it, but I just got a mug.
Yeah. But that's where you have to be smart about it and not do that.
Exactly.
Put coffee in the cup, like fresh steaming coffee, and take a photo of that.
Exactly.
But not actual bag of beans, because it's probably going to be another brand or even other little beans and stuff like that. It's better to play it safe. And people do split testing with these images as well to see what works best. I'm definitely always recommend that as well. So but yeah, I would definitely just play it safe, and if it's something that's not included in your product, you can put your packaging in your main listing image, because sometimes that really helps, especially when it's not a very big product, or when it's something that's very flat or simple. Your packaging can make a big difference just by grabbing attention of your customers by going through all those different listings. So that's something that you can do, because that's something that the customer is going to get, and it's a little easy way to kind of get information into your main image without putting it onto your main image. So say you have something like a 2-pack and you've tried to use a 2-pack image before, but Amazon like takes it down, then you can position your packaging in such a way so you can see it's a 2-pack or something like that on the actual packaging. So you can definitely use your packaging as a benefit in that way. It's a little like trick we like to use sometimes when people are afraid to put actual 2-pack, and bonus includes a peeler or something random like that into the main image. We just add it onto the packaging, put the packaging in the main image.
Okay. What do you recommend for the secondary images?
So for the secondary images, you always have to have a mixture of infographic style images and lifestyle images as well. So obviously you don't want to do images just on white because it's going to get a bit boring when people go through the images. The infographic style images are very nice because you can actually like zoom in on the material, or the high quality of whatever your product is made from, explain the product's highlights or highlight the product's features with little icons. And there's so much that you can do with infographic style images. You can answer simple questions that the customer might have without them having to read your product title or description or anything else. Maybe like adding in the dimensions or even showing dimensions in an actual environment that the product would be used, like in comparison to a person or in comparison to something else for scale. So I would definitely recommend something like that. And if you have a product with a lot of features or a lot of little things, try and squash everything into one image. Rather make 2 to 3 different infographic style images where you explain 2 to 3, or if it's one main thing on those images, so people can really see everything without missing it because there's too much going on, if that makes sense. And then lifestyle. Oh yeah, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, that makes a lot of sense, because you want it to. So sometimes you look and they're like trying to tell you everything in one infographic and people don't read that. What would you recommend? Like 1 or 2 like highlights, or like, do you have like a tip, or, or you like the show them everything in one picture?
Yeah, also it's really depends on the product. So I like to use like examples for that. Say you have like a yoga mat. For that, you can do like 2. One is you can show like the thickness of the material and like a close-up of the high density foam or something like that. And you can show the strap or something, because most of them comes with a little strap and a handle. So that's something where you can show maybe even 3 or 4, because it's not these major benefits or highlights. But then if you have something like a sweater bag, like a cashmere sweater bag, where you have these 2-way zippers, you have handles, you have a mesh, like nylon mesh window, you have a aromatic bag for inside. If you have all of these features that are very like big main features, and you want to show that these zips go to sides and stuff like that, I would rather just do like 2 of these on an image, so you don't overwhelm the customer with like all of those highlighted features on one image specific.
Gotcha. Exactly. So all right, so let's talk a little bit about all these images and whatnot. Anything holiday related you might do temporarily for Christmas? Like, would you show it as gifts, that type of thing? Or do you just pretty much stick with same thing year round?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely, it shows if you do that little bit of extra effort in your images and do like maybe a little holiday hat on the product, or something like a little a ribbon, or there's a bunch of things that you can do that will already show that you take time to look at your listing, you're interested in your product. It's not just something that you put on there and just left there to see what happens. So it definitely helps with getting customers' attention, especially over the holiday season, because immediately what comes to mind is maybe there's a special offer on this product. If maybe I purchase this one, I get something else with that, like a bonus product or something like that. And then for your lifestyle images, you can also incorporate more holiday style lifestyle images, so people can actually visualize themselves or other people using this product in the holiday season, if it's in the kitchen or it's just outdoors or whatever. It's definitely something that you can incorporate, and it's not unnecessary, because you can just use it each year again. So you'll always have it as a backup. We even have people that do, like, for Halloween, special images for Halloween.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and some of this is product dependent. And if you're in a situation where it's like fall related, then like going back to the coffee cup, you can just position it a little bit differently. Like maybe it's got a pumpkin spice latte in it or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Or for Christmas, like it's not like we're just doing it just for the sake of doing it. Like generally there's a 3, 4, 5x increase over the rest of the year for a lot of folks. So it's worth doing some of these little things and going through your listings and maybe adding something that calls out holidays. Now, don't put in your title "makes for a great Christmas gift," because that will probably be taken down, and that's against terms of service. So, all right. So what about A+ content? What recommendations do you have for that?
So A+ content is another very great, powerful tool that you have for free on Amazon. And it's just, if you have brand registry, definitely use your A+ content, because the benefits of A+ content is like major. You use it to educate your buyer about your product even more. It can help them, like I mentioned just now. If I have 4 products that I'm looking at, which is the same thing, and I want to make a choice, enhanced brand or A+ content will be
formerly enhanced brand content.
Yeah, formally enhanced brand content will be the thing that makes me make my final choice. So that's where it educates your buyer and helps him make that final choice. It's shown to increase conversion. It helps to build brand awareness. It increases product returns. It's shown to do that. And it increases product visibility as well. According to Amazon, I've read on their actual a thread of them somewhere, it definitely drives up sales like with a few percent versus products without A+ content. So it's a free tool. Take the advantage of it, use it. Even if it's not something where your competitors have A+ content, because sometimes people will come to us and they'll say, I have this product, but it doesn't feel like this is something where A+ content is necessary because none of my competitors have A+ content. And then I'm like, okay, but you're going to be the first one with A+ content, so that's going to put you ahead. So definitely take that opportunity and do A+ content, even if you think the product is not worth having A+ content, because there's always something that you can add in there to make someone help make their final choice, even if it's just another image.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. So, the thing about A+ content is, if you look at the rest of the listing, title, bullets, description, images, it's all pretty regimented of like what goes there. Then you get to A+ content, it's a lot more creativity, like different things you could do. And sometimes people get overwhelmed with that. So what are from what you've seen, are the things that seem to work the best and are the most impactful? So if somebody said, I think about adding A+ content to my listings, what would be the most impactful of the different types of A+ content you could add? What would drive the traffic the best?
Well, definitely 70% visual design. So this is a place where you don't want to, you're already past the product description at the top. You don't want to add a bunch of information at the bottom. You just want to interest the buyer even further by showing them images. Rather use images with big bold text and highlighted features, like rather say, like you said, 2-pack, for example, rather say something like that big and bold over an image, not in the title boxes. The title boxes are there, but you don't have to use them. Some products need them because they have a lot of information that still has to be communicated to the buyer. So this is also very product related as well. But I would definitely say big and bold and be colorful, bring out your branding colors here. Just show as much of the product as you possibly can, even show the product in use, because it's nice wide templates that you have to work with. So you can have like an image fading into some wording where you can explain every little thing, but you don't have to use too much wording. It can be very visual. So definitely 70% visual, 30% text is definitely enough to educate the buyer even further.
Gotcha. Now, one question I have with A+ content that might be a little controversial for some folks is sometimes I go there and A+ content is just all about us. Here's our story. Some people have a little bit of their story in there. Some people, they just all images or all text or all comparison charts or whatever. So do you recommend putting in your story there, or is that it depends?
This will also depend on the actual product. Maybe in some cases where I've had it where it's a mom that created a product for babies that was a colic baby or something like that, and she explained where the product comes from and how she created this product to help with her baby, and then it can help with your baby. But say, for example, you're just selling like tumblers and stuff like that, and you're like, we're a family of 5 and we live in wherever, and you just have the story about your family. It's not really relevant,
right?
To the person purchasing, because it's not to, I don't it's not to be rude or anything, but they're not going to be that interested in a story like that. Whereas if it's a mom struggling with a baby crying all the time, and this mom went through the same thing. So see, it's also very product related. It really depends
exactly
on that. So if that can be an example of where to do it and where not to do it, I would say if it's something like that where you have personally experienced something where this product has helped you and changed your family's life in a positive way, which is not necessarily just because you started a business and you now are not, you're doing well now, but in a way where I struggled with my baby because they weren't sleeping. Now they're sleeping because of this product. So I decided to help other moms to get their babies to sleep. See, something like that makes
exactly
sense.
You're putting yourself in the customer's shoes, because everything is really aspirational. Of when they're buying a product, they're trying to make some transition from fixing some problem they have. And so if the story can relate to that in some way, or just makes them better identify, and oftentimes we think it's going to make them identify, but it might not. Like if you went on Target's website and you read about the CEO and what a great family person this person is, I don't know, maybe the CEO of Target's wonderful, I don't mean anything negative, but it's not going to drive the ball. But like if you're looking at, to your point, which is great, moms having a wife who is a mom, like to know, especially if it's related to the kids, what are other moms experiencing. So if you kind of help tell the story, or if a little bit of the origin of the product is because it was fixing a problem that some or all of your customers may or may not have, that's going to help too. So like it helps tell the story of the transition. So that's oftentimes, I think, what's helpful there. So I like the way you frame that. So all right, so what about stores? So anything interesting or different folks should do with stores, especially around the holidays?
Well, stores is this great free tool that I think some people don't even know about. I'm not sure if people know that you can have a store and have your own Amazon.com website address if you have a store on Amazon. And I mean, it's such a powerful tool. It gives the opportunity to show your clients all of your products in one space. It's like having your own little website on Amazon. So I would definitely recommend doing stores because it also drives traffic to your products. It can build brand awareness because there are no competitor ads in your stores. And that's a big bonus because sometimes when you scroll through stuff and even when you have PPC and stuff, there's always the other ads. But when people go to your store, there's nothing like that. Stores are also shown to decrease product returns, and you can use store insights to optimize ad campaigns. So the store is a very powerful tool that I would definitely recommend, especially in the fourth quarter. If everything is like up to scratch and you don't have a store, I would definitely add a store, especially if you have multiple products and stuff like that, stuff that goes together, people can purchase together. Definitely consider doing a store. It's really a powerful tool, and also it's free. So
okay, gotcha. And also requires brand registry.
Yeah, it also requires brand registry.
Okay, well, good. Any other Q4 holiday season tips, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or whatever, all the above that you may have?
Well, the biggest tip that I would have for the fourth quarter, the busy season coming up, is to optimize your product listing. That would include your listing copy, listing images, A+ content, and stores, because these are all major tools. You already have your product, you already have an idea of your market and your sales and where your strong points and stuff are. So take all of that into account and see where you can improve all of these things in your actual listing to make that conversion even more. I would definitely invest time into looking into all of that and invest the money into getting some help to improve where improvements are needed to help with extra conversion.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, just to kind of help illustrate conversion. So if you have a 10% conversion rate and you can raise it to just 11%, you have a 10% bump in sales off of the same traffic. Now, oftentimes, if you start increasing conversion rate, Amazon will reward you with more impressions and hopefully more traffic. So what also to keep in mind there too is, if you go from 10% to 15%, and that's a 50% increase in sales. And when you're talking about 3-4x the sales potential, that's magnifying it even more so. So definitely now is the time to start looking at your listings. Now, if you're listening to this in the future and you're like, it's not even more near Q4, because like we're, as this is going to come out and be like, about a month before Black Friday, which is a great time to start looking at these things and kind of, updating your listings. But if you're listening to this in the future, still go back and look at conversions, because conversions is constantly something to work on. So, this is great advice. So if somebody wants to follow you or learn more, where would they go, Miriska?
Okay, so if anyone needs some help or just some guidance from us, we're happy to do like a call with people and have a look at their listings. They can go to outlinematic.com or they can email us at info@outlinematic.com. And we have fixed pricing on our website. If there's anything that they see that they're not sure if they need or not, they can just always email us and we can quote them on specific work as well.
Awesome. And we will have links to that in the description below for those watching on YouTube. And if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, it will be in the show notes, which will likely be on whatever podcast player or app you are listening to this. So this is a great conversation, and I definitely think it was timely, especially with the holidays right around the corner. So very excited that you're here, and thank you so much, Miriska.
Thank you for having me. Always nice to talk with you, Kevin.
Same here. Bye-bye.